A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
A little something for the weekend indeed, and golly gosh, it's been a few weeks, that's for sure. Sam, good morning.
Good morning, Wamo. Good day.
Yeah.
You've been in Tokyo, eh?
I have for one of those weeks.
Yeah.
What a grand old time.
Good.
And no problem. I think more people should be going over there. And
I've been over there in the sense that I've flown over it, but I've never been to it.
yeah.
Yeah. Good. Well, and apologies for last week, but after all I've been involved in this, both the book coming out and the film about me and all that stuff. It's been a sort of, I think it just sort of, I just collapsed for a couple of days. Friday last week, I just been horizontal. So, but it was okay. Picked myself up slowly and been working on on some new poems.
But you've been all over the whole country promoting the film.
Well, I was happy. I wouldn't normally do as much publicity, but just if it had been just my own book. But what with the film as well. And I wanted to sort of support the filmmakers who have worked really hard. This is on Purple Balloon and other stories. And so, yeah, I agreed to do more than I would normally have done. But I think as a result, it just sort of, this soon-to-be gold-carded individual. I've had the official letter, Wamo, from the Inland Revenue Department.
Yes.
Saying, dear Mr. Hunt, as you may be aware, you are turning 65 on the 4th of July.
Are you aware?
Am I aware? This is exactly the question. Am I aware? So it's okay, and I've been working on stuff. I'll tell you a little one. I don't know what it is. It's just a little thing. It's right. Well, it's either a chorus of something else taking place, just a little 11 lines, or it's a verse, possibly a closing verse of a longer song. It goes like this. This is the first time out on Kiwi FM.
Cool.
You remember, you'll tell your grandchildren, I remember when he first told us that. I doubt it. She's in a lava, riding low on her hips. I'd scuttle my ships to shipwreck upon them, scuttle the fleet to hold her then, and not have to leave her. Lava lady, got to thinking lately, got to thinking of late, could be our lover. So it's the lava lady, but part one.
Cool.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'd scuttle my ships to shipwreck upon them, scuttle the fleet to hold her then, and not have to leave her. Lava lady. Yeah. It needs a steel guitar there or something like that. I reckon.
Yeah. Well, a ukulele.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sick. No? I'm well and truly over bloody ukulele, fucking orchestras and things. Jesus Christ! So there was somewhere I was doing a show, and there was ukulele people were going to do the support act for me.
Yeah.
I said, I wasn't being rude, but I said, look, if you did, I'd commit suicide. I didn't mean it rudely or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I know you. I know you're not wrong there. I know what you mean.
I'm sure they understood. I think they all gave up the ukulele. Hey, actually, while we've been away, you in Tokyo, and then me Crook, I've been also continuing to enjoy that best of anthology that Victoria University Press have published, and a couple of poets. This is what I keep on harping on about. I suppose I harp on about it, but the importance of having an anthology, which is where the poems are there because they're good poems, not because they're poems by a particular person.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the result, I find myself coming across poets whose names I've known vaguely sometimes, but not really known any of their poems, but through this anthology. And the poets like, some of the ones that I've, been absolutely sort of really knocked over by is people, a woman called Rachel Bush. She wrote a poem, and there's a young woman from Tikuiti, she's in this anthology called Ashley Young. But I would like to read this one by Rachel Bush, if I could. It's about what's it called? It's called The Strong Mothers.
Yeah.
She says in the notes in the back, some of the people in this anthology have put notes on their poems, and she says, I went on thinking about mothers I'd known when I was at school. I don't think I set out to write a poem to celebrate their individuality, but this is what happened. I hope some of their particular ways of being human are clear in the poem. I like seeing their names in the poem. I miss these women. I'm glad I knew them once. And this is the poem. The Strong Mothers by Rachel Bush. Where are the mothers who held power and children, preserved features in season, understood about greens and 2 classes of protein, who drove cars or did not have a license, who laughed, raged, and were there? Take Mrs. Russell, who rode her irate bike, an upright fly that buzzed with a small engine on its back wheel, up South Road past the school football field on her way to the hospital. Consider the other Mrs. Russell, drama judge, teacher of speech and elocution in a small front room, part-time reporter on the Harbour Star. And Mrs. Ellingham, who had an MA in French, the university. Or Mrs. Smith, one knee stiff with TB, her tennis parties on Saturdays, adults on banks, and we smoked their cigarettes in the bamboo. Her legs shone, their skin in diamonds like a lizard's. Then Mrs. Chapman, who sang in the church choir, formed brooches from fresh white bread, made you look for a needle till you found it, heated records and shaped them into vases for presents, who did a spring display in the window of Gamage's hats. They have left the vows uncorrected, the stories unproofed. They have rested their bicycles inside their garages. Let needles lie in the narrow dust between veranda boards. They've tested the last jam on a saucer by a window, comforted the last crying child they will ever see, and left how we missed them and their great strength. Wait for us, we say, wait for me, and they will. That's a great poem.
I love that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love that line, her legs shone, her skin in diamonds like a lizard's. Yeah. That's Rachel Bush. She's great discovery for me. So I'm going to go on in fact, I've already ordered a book of hers. And the other one I wanted to mention, if I can find her here, she's towards the end, because this anthology is alphabetical, which is very, very bloody handy. And this is this woman from Te Kuiti, called Ashley Young, and I don't know if she's published a book of poems. I should know that. I don't know, but she's published poems, so this is what I like. I love this one. She said that she'd been, what did she say about herself? That she'd been living on her own when she wrote this. She'd been living on her own and listening to a lot of the Smiths. She says never a healthy combination. That's good. It's called Certain Trees. One tree pretends to throw things, and the wind goes sprinting, then skids, turns, sucked in again, old wind. One tree chooses to be apart, like a door halfway up a wall. My window groans with the weight of trees, staking their territory. Humped back trees, shipwrecks of trees with piano keys inside, like the Titanic. Certain trees sway, holding lighted leaves up as a voice sings out. Of a man inside my neighbor's radio. Why on your own tonight? The ones you shun always come back to sing at you. Certain trees reach for a woman who is handing washing to the wind, a shirt by the arms, pants by the waist, socks by the feet, handing over parts of the body, has never been so easy. The wind sprints past the window again. It gets dark quickly. A certain tree and certain trees reach for me. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Handing the washing to the wind.
Then they're great.
Yeah.
And that's good. That I love it. Certain trees reach for a woman who is handing washing to the wind, a shirt by the arms, pants by the waist, socks by the feet. And then she says, handing over parts of the body has never been so easy. Really good. Yeah. And just an old friend who's. I just want to bring him. He's dead now. He died a couple of years ago. We've talked about him on this program, Alistair Tiartiki Campbell. And his last poem he ever wrote is in this anthology. It was published. It was the best of 2007, I think, which is the year he died, or 2008. I may have the year wrong, but it's a late poem that he wrote for his wife Meg, and he knew at the time of writing it would be his last poem. And that's after a lifetime of poems. Born in Penryn, came to New Zealand when he was posted to New Zealand when his parents were dead as an orphan. when he was very young. Went through the system, Polynesian. As a young man, was ashamed of his dark skin. He was living in Dunedin in a big orphanage. Amazing life. Wrote incredible poems right through. And this was just the last poem he wrote, and it's to his wife of many, many years, who died a year before him, Meg, 1937 to 2007. So that's right, so Alistair died in 2008, and this is the last poem he wrote. It's called Tidal, just 8 lines long. I wrote this poem for you out of tidal rack. I spoke my lines to the wind, and the wind blew them back. This is my last poem. It's out there on the beach for the first high tide to turn and float it out of reach. That's it. So if this anthology, just had that poem in it, it'd make it worth it. But we've got a whole lot of other ones too, so it's good. So that's the story of my life. Where am I? I'm off to Gisborne tomorrow.
Oh, are you? Okay, bit of a gig down there.
Got 2 gigs, in fact. I got to work on Saturday. And then I got to work in a sort of more relaxed way. They're having the Gisborne premiere of Purple Balloons, so I'm doing that.
Okay.
But I'm doing a gig the night before at the Matafiro Winery.
Oh, sounds good. We'll have a good time.
Looking forward to that. I think I am. I am now. Now it's all being sorted out. I'm looking forward to it. You wake up and think, what the hell's going to happen today? It could be the day of your death. Okay, hey, Damo.
Let's hope not, Sam.
You have a good weekend, and I hope the people do, the Kiwi FMers.
Okay, see you, mate.
See you, mate.
Bye.
That was a little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt, only on Kiwi FM.